Audacious Kids, we are in a series of winning, losing and drawing and how to do that well. And we've been looking at the story of Joseph, and he's been helping us to discover how we win, lose and draw really, really well. And our encouragement today is that God works all things for good. And we've just seen a little glimpse of that through the story of Joseph today. Now, before we get into that, let me tell you something, that I did have a big loss. Now, my kids will back me up. I am not the best baker. However, I'm an enthusiastic baker and I'm willing to give it a go. And one day I decided I was going to be making a cake. And you have to put your eggs in. Yeah, eggs in. So I was putting the eggs in. And you know what? They weren't as tough as these eggs, but all the shell was going into my cake mixture. In fact, it was pretty disastrous. And I was like thinking it was going to be this masterpiece cake ready for the bake-off, but all the eggshell was going into my cake. And I had to get my hands in and they had to get sticky and it was disgusting. But I set off with this big goal of making a brilliant cake, but quickly it turned into a major, major loss. Now, the good news is, with a little bit of help of digging out all those little bits, I was quite proud of my MasterChef cake. They would have been proud of it on British Bake Off. It turned out all right. Now, we all have things that seem to be going great 1 minute and then the next minute it's not going great, or even it starts by being absolutely disaster, but then it can turn around. Maybe it has been a football competition and your team has been really badly losing, and then all of a sudden after halftime, someone from your team scores a goal, then they score another one, and then before you know it, it's a draw. And then there's like 30 seconds to go until the final whistle. And someone from your team scores one more goal and the crowds go wild and you all put your tops over your head and run around. What was going really bad turned around into a massive win. It might not even be a sporting activity or a craft activity that was going bad that went well, or went well and then went bad. It could have been something that happened in your family, a little bit like what happened for Joseph. You too might have felt a little bit disowned by your friends or by your family, just like Joseph, but maybe things could be turning around. The story of Joseph was such a good reminder that God works all things for good. Joseph was beaten by his brothers, sold as a slave, put in prison. And the prison would have been pretty cold and damp and smelly. No Xboxes or PlayStations, it would have been not so pleasant. But in there, he met the cupbearer and the baker. And he had the opportunity to interpret, to tell them dreams that they had, which was incredible. For one of them, it worked out okay. The other one must have been a little bit scary. But when word got out that Joseph was able to interpret these dreams, word got out to Pharaoh, who'd had some massive dreams and he didn't know what they meant. And he called all the magicians and physicians and people from all across the land to come and try and interpret his dreams. There's my Pharaoh hat for you. But no one could interpret his dreams. But word got out that there was a guy in prison who was able to interpret the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. Now, Joseph was before Pharaoh, and he boldly shared with Pharaoh what his dreams meant. And that it was going to be a time of famine and a time of plenty that was going to come to the land. Now, God brought good out of this situation. Joseph went from being in prison to getting a promotion. After he interpreted Pharaoh's dream, Pharaoh just saw how wise he was and how much God had helped him, that he put him in second in charge over all of Egypt. So Pharaoh was the boss, and then there was Joseph to run the land. God turned what was a loss into a great win. So what do we do when things are not going good? First off, keep our eyes on Jesus. Second, read his word. Third, pray, talk to God and tell him what's troubling you. and be who God made you to be. Continue to be like Joseph, being loving and kind and honest. It might not always go as we thought it should, and it wasn't like that for Joseph. But look at what God did. If Joseph hadn't been in prison, then he would not have got to interpret Pharaoh's dreams. So, Audacious Kids, whatever situation you've been through, and maybe it's been bullying, maybe it has been an awful situation. And if that's happened to you, use your loss for someone else's gain and help others in that situation. Let's stand with each other in our losses, encourage each other in the tough times, and get ready to see God to do something brilliant, just like he did with Joseph. See you soon, Audacious Kids.